Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main mathematics Shane coming to you live from Walker Middle School, and in this video we're going to be working with this Monday warm-up, and it says the following. It says simplify the following algebraic expression. So it's 3x plus 17 minus 4x minus 13. And so you want to make sure that you are combining like terms. So we can combine like terms. And what are they talking about? Well, we want to make sure that they have a common variable or non-variable in the same term. So I'm saying this: if they have x's together, so let me actually box these in. I'm going to box in my variable terms. I'm going to circle my constants. That way I can kind of show a little bit different. If you want to draw out those boxes using that key to the right, you certainly can to help show those zero pairs, or you can simply just simplify. So I have 3x, so let's do on the side here, let me do 3x minus 4x. Well, that is going to be equal to a negative 1x. And then we could do 17 minus 13. Well, that's going to be equal to a positive 4. Again, you just have to write those two together to have your simplified expression. And so we're going to have a negative x, and we have plus 4. And so a lot of people are going to ask, well, where is that 1 at? Well, how many x's do we have right here? We just have 1, and it's a negative. Alright, and the second one, it says evaluate. So make sure you're seeing the differences between simplify and evaluate. Evaluate, we're talking about replacement values. So we're putting those given values for our variables into the expression. So let's do just that. So let's say we have negative 2. So anywhere where there's an x, we now have a negative 2. And then we have, for y, we have a 5. Again, I use parentheses anytime I substitute values in for our variables. That way it makes it a lot simpler. And we have z equals 4. Again, you can use the order operations for yourself, and I'll check using Desmos in just a second. But we want to make sure that we're doing our grouping symbols first. So again, if I need to write that GEMDAS staircase for ourselves, you certainly can. And we said that's nice. GEMDAS staircase going from the top of the staircase down. So we want to work inside the parentheses, or inside the grouping symbols, excuse me. And we're going to have that absolute value is going to be our grouping symbol on the left. And so we're going to do that first. And so absolute value, well, that's going to be, actually highlight that. I'm going to get used to highlighting the first thing I do, or whatever step I'm doing. And so absolute value of negative 2 is just simply 2. And so everything else stays the same. And so we have 5 minus a 1/2 times 4 plus 5. Inside the grouping symbols, we can do this multiplication. And so we're going to do 1/2 times 4. That's also a 2. Everything else stays the same. Still inside that grouping symbol, we can do 2 plus 5. That's going to be a 7. Everything else stays the same. Then we do 2 times 5 for our multiplication. So that's going to be 10 minus 7. And lastly, we have our only step remaining is 10 minus 7. So let's see if I can bust out this Desmos calculator for ourselves. Let me see if I can do this here. Yeah, and it's on that student's webpage, or you can have that wonderful Desmos app. And so let's see. Let me see if we can turn this down a little bit. a little bit more. Perfect. All right. So again, if you type it in exactly how it looks, it should be all right. So we're going to say, let's have the following. We're going to have absolute value, and we have of x. We're going to have the last part, and we have times ry, so times y. And we have, let me turn it down a little more and actually zoom in so that way everybody can see. Perfect. Alright, so let's see. We have absolute value of x times y. And we have, what else is left? Well, we have to have our minus, and then we have our parenthesis. Let's do a fraction 1/2. And then we have 1/2 times z. And then we have plus 5 and parentheses. And if you notice on the side, it says, hey, you have some variables and you need to define them. So let's do just that. We're going to say, let's have x equals, and you have to have y equals, and z equals. This is just defining what those variables are, so it knows what to plug in. And we said, all right, -2, we said 5, and 4. And boom, just like that, you know you're good, because the same answer, again, I showed my work on the side, and I checked it using that Desmos calculator. Make sure you can show either way. Again, you will have this Desmos calculator on every problem on your SOL. Make sure that's in your warm-up section.
Please report to the cafeteria for breakfast duty. Ms. Amby, please report to the cafeteria for breakfast duty. Thank you.
You're welcome. Make sure that is in the right section of your binder. And lastly, I want to make sure that you guys are finishing up those wonderful distributed property notes from Friday. Again, I want to make sure that that is a strong suit for you guys. After that, you want to make sure you can work on that V13 section.